Hey everybody, what's up? It's Tipping the Scales. I'm your girl, Shea Dawson.
And I'm Tyneeha Rivers. What's up, tippers?
What's up? How is everyone?
Welcome back. So excited to be back behind the mic, my favorite place to be.
Me too. I hope you all enjoyed our last episode about coexisting with our exes if they could possibly be friends.
That started a lot of drama. I think I started a lot of drama in households with that.
Yeah.
With my little selective polling that I did. People are not happy right now.
I started a lot of drama also.
We're drama starters.
Yeah. I mean, but it's definitely a conversation to be had. So
that's right.
You got some wheels turning. That's
maybe,
for sure.
Listen, maybe we're helping people be more transparent and authentic in their relationships. So
yes, I'm sure we're doing that.
Us.
Shout out to us. I am dead sure we're doing that. So today is a little bit of a controversial topic.
Yeah, I think so.
I wouldn't say it's heavy. It was heavy at the moment.
Yeah.
I've now tried to unpack it, still a little traumatized from the situation.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about the famous or infamous slap, the Will Smith and Chris Rock. I don't even, can we call it an altercation?
Not really,
right?
I think
assault. It was an assault.
Well, it could be an altercation. It could be an assault. It can be a slap. It could be whatever you want it to be. But
yeah,
look, I think a lot of us are talking about it in. I thought it was appropriate too, because, we want to use this episode as kind of like a state of the union, like what's going on in our world, and be able to talk about it, share about it with you, get your feedback. And of course, we love to hear from you as well. But so let's start. Let's just jump right in there. So,
okay. Well, where were you first when you saw or heard about the Oscars?
I was in the bed. I wasn't watching the Oscars. I was tired because I had a long day of working. Same. And I was just like, I'm not doing anything, but I was lying in the bed with the lights off, but I was on the phone with a friend and and he texted me and said, wait a minute, did you hear about what just happened with Will Smith? And I was like, what? And then he sent me a video. And that's how I found out. But just curious, where were you?
So similar. I had a long ass day.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not going to watch any TV. I'm just going to relax. I laid down. I pulled my covers over. I plugged my phone in.
Right. See?
And I'm like, I'm daydreaming. I'm thinking about things for tomorrow. Make sure my alarm is set, going through the mental checks. And then my phone starts blowing up. Right. It's my group chat. It's Steven, Nikki, Nita, Chris, Aaron, all of them. And literally just bing, 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 like just going in. And we were all just in shock. Like, it was like, is this real? Nah, that was staged. No, I think it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I thought it was
staged. I just kept going through the Twitter.
It's so funny that you guys were thinking the same thing, because when he sent it to me, I was like, oh, they're so funny. Like, look, they really played this. That's such good acting.
That was good acting, right? Yeah, I thought the same thing.
I see the strut up to the stage. I was like, oh, they planned this whole thing. What a great idea to plan something. So
yes,
it looks
like
so
the
serious.
Oscars wasn't in on it, like crazy.
But you know what? I realized that here's the point where I realized that it was not it wasn't this staged type act.
Yeah.
Is when I heard Will Smith say, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth. Look, I know that man can act his pants off, but I felt how serious the situation was.
Yes.
And how the emotion that was evoked when he said those words. So I knew right then and there, like, oh, no. This is the real deal.
So what did you think? So first of all, it panned away. So Chris Rock said the joke about G.I. Jane. You seen Jada's face, but then you saw Will kind of like laugh, but then you didn't see it anymore. And the next thing you know, you saw Will walking up. Like,
Yeah.
I still wish I could have seen like the interaction, like, or
Yeah.
like the face of Will, like when he saw Jada's face. Like,
Yeah. It's hard for me because I can't tell. Because, when people do videos and they do a clip of something, I don't know, like, because I wasn't watching live,
right.
So I'm uncertain was he, because a few folks have said that he originally was laughing at the joke and then he looked at his wife and
Jada's.
saw her face, was like, oh, no, no, no. And then that's when he started, walking towards the stage and he could see how angry he was. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't know enough to say that he was laughing. And then all the times, laughter is an indication that something is funny. Like
Mm-hmm.
sometimes laughter is an indication of, it could be a nervousness laugh. People laugh, like people, there's times when people are joking on someone and it may be joking about you too. And you're not feeling that joke, which like, like you laugh, but it may
Like, you're
not
like,
be. Yeah. So I don't
oh
know.
God. Yeah.
But I do know that Slat was serious and
Yeah.
he was quite real about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like a complex situation to unpack because there's so much there. Like, if you go back into the history, Chris Rock has made jokes about Jada before not being invited
to the
Oscars. And like her boycotting and like, well, you weren't invited anyway. And she was literally boycotting because there was lack of diversity at the Oscars. So to make fun of that in that moment, it's kind of distasteful in my opinion. And then there's like, well, comedy is not supposed to be censored. Where's the line? And then you understand Will's frustration and you understand his need to want to protect his wife in that moment. But I also am like, even though I understand it, I don't condone violence. So like,
that's the thing.
There
for
was
me
a quote.
Too. Yeah.
There was a quote. Okay. Oh yeah. So there was a quote. This lady named Ashley Marie Preston. She said, "I've been targeted like Jada, have exercised poor judgment like Chris, and have reacted like Will. The duality has trained me to bypass knee-jerk reactions to other people's miscalculations, reflect on my own growth and transformation, and keep working toward a collective healing." Like, I love that because it was like, there is a duality to it. It's like, there's so much going on there to unpack. Like, you've been in all those situations.
Yeah. And look, I agree. Like, just from a sense, like, we do have a duty. And I would say our men have a duty to protect us and stand up for us. Because if they're not standing up for us, then what's the purpose of, what's the purpose? Like, we need a strong man in our life to protect us.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I'm a mother of a Black male. And just from look historically of all the things that has happened in our world, I would certainly not condone violence because I don't want him end up in jail, shot, killed, or whatever, So I definitely don't condone violence in any sort. I also think it's a poor reflection of his brand. Like, I understand why he did it. And, especially when you really start to, I would say, peel back the onion and understand the layers behind it. Like, in his book, he talked about seeing his mother being in an abusive relationship and feeling that he kind of failed as a man because he couldn't protect her. He couldn't help the woman who he loved the most in the world. Like, he couldn't protect her. And, so he may have his own insecurities that he's dealing with as it relates to protection and as it relates to, we never know stuff that happens behind the scene in people's relationships either, where there could have been some talk like, you never protected me. Like, you just don't know what causes someone to tick and do things like that. So, and this is what I told my friends, like, I'm not going to stop being a fan. I still will support Will Smith, although what he did was wrong. And he probably should get some help in some areas with being able to deal with emotions under pressure and being able to deal with things that he has, because he's struggling with some things. I mean, we've all seen.
Right. That's a struggling person does that, right?
Like, yes. Like, he's definitely
not a happy. Yeah. Like somebody on a cloud and high and vibrating high at that moment. Not saying he's not a high vibrator. He is. Yeah. But like at that moment, clearly, and then all of the emotions afterwards. And then even when he said, keep my wife's name out your effing mouth, it was so much like, it was like a lion just roaring. Right.
Yeah. And passion. And he was so, you can hear, can hear the hurt in his words. You know, like you can just tell that there was so much behind those words. And I'm just sad that he finally got an Oscar, which he deserved. And then
it was overshadowed by that moment.
Is overshadowed. And I feel bad. Like, and listen, I know that comedians kind of tote the line that they say things that's inappropriate. This is not the first time. I mean, when Kevin Hart cheated on his wife, that was out there. And he even came out like he wasn't happy because he was going to lose someone he loved, and things that happened in his personal life with his family and his comedians that he considered his friends were joking about, and he didn't think it was funny. So I do think that that in the past that comedians have joked and said things that they go a little too far, and teasing someone about, and like she has alopecia. And when you have something like that and you're just the things that go along with it, like she had posted in the past before the Oscars about being depressed, about having a series of emotions, and the things that alopecia caused her to have, it just a lot with her mental state. And I think that was, you know, in terms of Will Smith as well, just understanding all that. So it was just, it was a hard night. I felt bad. And I will say, I'm surprised Chris Rock kept calm.
I was going to say,
and kept going.
And the way he just shocked. Like pivoted was like very impressive.
I know.
I was after being slapped with the spit out your mouth and then humiliated, right? You have the humiliating feelings going on.
My grandma used to say, like, if you get smacked like that, somebody smacks the cowboy piss out of you, whatever that's supposed to be.
Yo, y'all Philly people, y'all West Philly people, I don't know what y'all got, but definitely that West Philly.
You know what? That's a shame because all of us were like from West Philly, like, okay.
Y'all understood.
I'm born.
Y'all understood.
I'm born and raised in West Philly. I was like, yeah, we're gonna leave you alone, T. We don't want no problems. I was like, wow, it's like that.
No. And you know, Nafis is from West Philly too. And so I'm like, that's really how West Philly, like West Philly don't be playing around. So, I know, we grow and we elevate, as young Black people growing up in West Philly. And so like a lot of the world wasn't expecting to see that from Will. But no. You know what I'm saying?
But sometimes never going to condone violence. I don't condone violence for my son. I don't want him to be
right.
Or any of my family members.
Right.
But I will say that we have to do better and about attacking people who may be dealing with a disease, an illness, something that is affecting their whole being. That has to be something that is offline.
A couple other things that went through my mind too was one, it overshadowed yet again as a stolen moment from Serena and Venus and the movie. I thought that happened with awesome. Campion.
Great
the
movie.
First, the previous awards and then this awards with Will. And then the other one was like, I was just thinking like, other scenarios, like would Will have slapped a white man? Right? Or would Chris Rock have made a joke about a white woman? Like, so then I'm thinking about the actual undertones of race in there too. Like, because obviously there's all these social constructs that like certain people, you don't mess with. Certain people, you couldn't slap.
Touch.
But like,
it's like, know that they're kind of like off limits.
Protected or off limits. Yeah. So I felt like, was there some weird where Will thought, I can go slap another Black man. Like, ain't nobody going to do anything. And no one did do anything. Right. Like, no security removed him. The show didn't stop.
Well, would it be the same
he didn't get removed.
if he slapped a white man?
Right.
But the police, where he'd been arrested.
Right.
Would someone file charges against him? I don't think I haven't seen anything.
That's what
out there.
I heard he wasn't going to press charges.
He wasn't going to press charges.
He wasn't.
Okay.
So I, again, like, is that like, I'm protecting him because he's a Black man and maybe he made a mistake.
Or
and
maybe
I know I've done that in
knows.
the past in my life. Like, like literally, like you did something foul to me, but I'm not going to do that to you because I know what the system's going to do. Or I know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I hope you learn from that or whatever. But I just felt like there was a lot of unspoken things that were happening that I was thinking about too in those moments,
Sure.
Things that people probably don't want to talk about.
And you don't know, like, did a conversation happen behind the scenes afterwards between the two of them? Like, man,
correct.
I was,
because we did see Will Smith partying after that.
I totally was out of line. Like, was there some type of conversation? And I think it was a friend of mine had said Jim Carrey came out and said if it was him, he would had an X amount of dollar lawsuit like immediately filed or something around that. So
right.
It's just so much buzz going on around it. And listen, I think Chris Rock's stock probably went up in terms of how he just kept
how he handled it.
Yeah. And I said, unfortunately, this is something he's never going to be able to forget. There's like a gazillion memes out there.
Like literally,
it was so sad.
It was all I saw that day. I still can scroll and see stuff.
Have you ever been slapped in the face? Have you ever been punched in the face or slapped in the face?
No, but I did slap someone in the face.
Did you?
Surprisingly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to hear about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I learned my lesson too. And so when I say I understand the fury, I understand just the reaction. Yeah. I do understand it. So I was in school. This was in middle school. And I think I was in 8th grade. And I was in 8th grade. And the girl was in 7th grade. And we were in line waiting for lunch. And my friends were holding my spot. And I went to the bathroom. And
I'm picturing this whole thing in my head, guys. Like I'm taking it all
in middle school. When you're ordering lunch, there's like these bars that have lines. Like, there's 2 bars, the line in the middle, bars. So there was nobody in these bars. So I was hopping over the bars coming from the bathroom to get back to my spot. And there was a white girl behind us. And she basically said something, something, something. And all I heard was,
wow.
And when I heard that, there was no thinking. I literally whipped my head around so fast and smacked her across the face, right? Everything, her mouth and everything. And she was holding her face. And everybody
Did you get in trouble?
Yes, I got in a lot of trouble.
Wow.
She got in trouble too. And then we ended up being friends after that. But yeah, crazy. We had to do like, So one, my mom was pissed at me for getting in trouble, but she was also proud of me for standing up for myself. So it was like a duality thing there. Again, like we see here, it was like, and I think it was a lesson for her too. Like
maybe I shouldn't. I probably
you can't use that word, or you will get
that word, or
messed up.
Might get popped.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I smacked someone too before. Now I was 100% wrong. This is when I was with someone for 10 years and he was cheating. And I went to, I never forget, like, how things that are just so profound, just never forget. Like you could probably remember what you wore that day.
Of course.
And it was
the only person I ever slapped in my life. Yes. I remember it like it's crystal clear.
It's the only person I slapped too. Like, it was on a Thanksgiving day, a snowy Thanksgiving day. I remember it was so much snow on the ground. I was slipping and sliding, trying to park. I was in a car with my 2 cousins. They were hanging out. Shout out to Tyrese and Tashelle. Hey guys. But we were in a car. We were dropping off my niece. And when I was trying to get him to call him. And it was weird. I couldn't get him over on the phone. And he was over early that day because I had cooked. I love to cook. So I had cooked and he came over to eat and everything. And then I went to his house and I couldn't get in. And an older woman answered the door. I would say probably somewhere like in her 60s. And I thought that was weird. When this happened, I think I was in my early 30s and maybe a little younger than you. And the woman opened the door, but it's like one of those sliding doors, that goes to like off of a deck or something, like in the back of his house. Because normally when I would go in at, and I tried to slide the door open and I couldn't because it was locked. And I don't know, I must have got the strength from, I don't know. I like took my fingers and like pried the door open. And I knew something was off. And when I went upstairs, I saw him the girl was dressed, but she was in his room on his bed, just sitting on his bed. And the crazy part is that the whole, I think the crazy irony part for me, it was that the person that was sitting on his bed was the girl that I saw pictures of I was led to believe was his cousin's wife. And the whole time this is someone he was seeing. Like, isn't that terrible?
I feel
So
like you've told us tippers this before. I think we've
maybe,
kind of heard this
well,
story before.
maybe, but what you didn't hear,
but we didn't know that you
because I didn't share, is when he came his ass up the steps, honey. I took my hand, I cocked my hand back, and I was like, I smacked the living shit out of him to the fact that he almost fell on the ground. I don't know. I had so much force, so much power. And granted, that was wrong. You can't be putting your hands on people because what if
you cannot?
No, like even in the situation where he was cheating,
I got suspended and everything. Left. We both got suspended.
Yeah, I should have left his house. Like, because what if he would have reacted and smacked me back? Then it would have been a whole big thing. I didn't have any rights to put my hands on him, but I wasn't thinking in that moment. I was just so angry and I felt betrayed. So I slapped the shit out of him, and I think I even busted his lip. I smacked him so hard it wasn't wrong. It wasn't right.
This is not right. It's not right. And I'm with you. Like, I literally, I try to go back to the moment too when I slapped that girl, and I'm like, I could have said, I'm not cutting. I asked my friends to hold my spot, but
it was the word that triggered that emotion for sure.
And and then there's like this moment and I'm a nonviolent person. Like, there are some people who, by any means necessary, I'm not that person. Yeah. I'm the Martin Luther King of the world. I feel like, like there's some people who are the Malcolm X's and the
yeah. I think I'm a mix between
but I do think that sometimes slaps.
Yeah, you can't put your hands on people. It's just simple.
You can't put your hands on people, but I understand it because that's just insane.
People do, and I think that's a bigger part that is helpful to share with our tippers as well, is that please know that you will be tested, that people will do things that will provoke something in you that will make you want to kick someone's ass. Like,
and we're human, right?
And you have to remember that no matter what, like, you have to keep all of that. Like, it's so hard to do. It is so hard to turn the other cheek when things are said to or about you or about someone you love, but people will test us. And I think a big part of it for me is like that my son is an athlete, and you got a lot of haters and you got people who love him. And some of the stuff that I see, like, even though they say, don't read the comments. Mm-hmm. I do read the comments sometimes. And I get fired up when people say stuff about my kid. Like, don't mess with someone's kid. Don't mess with my kid. Okay. Like,
correct.
Mama Bear will come out.
Right. Like, what if you're in the stands sitting next to someone and they, they don't know who you are and they're saying things like you don't have the right to slap them, Tyneeha.
I don't, but you better keep your mouth shut. And, or, sometimes I want to hurt some of the players when they follow them for a hard, like, there's a nasty type. I'm like, I will meet you. Oh my God.
I know that feeling. I literally ran on the court in my brother's college game and got in so much trouble by Steve Fisher. It was TCU game for San Diego State. It was just a regular, league game. And, he fouled my brother intentionally I literally ran. I pushed my mom's head out of the way. I jumped over the seat, ran out on the court. And then afterwards, Coach Fisher was like, now, what were you thinking? Don't ever do that again. And I was like, I'm so sorry.
I'm telling
you. I reacted. So, but my brother was like, you're a real one. You got my back. You know what I mean? So it's like, I understand. And it's just like,
my son knows
whatever the consequences, I'm willing to take them.
My son would be totally mortified if I ran out anywhere and did anything. He'd be like, Mom, like, for real? Yeah. Right? He would not be happy at all. But it happens. Like, I'm in stands and people say some grimy stuff and it really annoys me. But I have to keep my cool. Like, I do get mad. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it doesn't thoroughly piss me off. Correct. But we have to figure out how to deal with whatever that emotion, whatever that energy, whatever it is that pops up. You have to find your way of coping with that, because what I don't want to see is for people to kind of fall into that
and start slapping people.
And you kind of fall into that violence. And because one, we're not actors, we're not movie stars. Our lives are different. And
Correct.
we go up and smack someone, 9 times out of 10 is going to end with some handcuffs on you
Correct.
and will wreck your world. So we need to be very cognizant of the choices that we make, because it's not just about right now, it's for our future.
Right. So like, okay, now the situation has happened. How do you move on from it? What do we think that are the right
Yeah.
moves? Like,
What should
how
he
do
do?
we even,
So I know.
what's your thoughts? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in terms of just staying with that whole thing with Will, is if he haven't done so already, I do think the right thing to do is to offer Chris Rock an apology, to say, hey, I got a lot of stuff I'm dealing with. Like, I totally was wrong. I sincerely apologize. And I came from a place like of protecting my wife. And here's why. Like, I think it needs to be a sit down conversation, man to man, take him out to dinner, do something, and sit down and talk to the man. He deserves the respect of hearing your story, but yet getting a very authentic apology. I think that's the very first thing that should happen. Is listen, all of us have fallen short at some point in our lives. You talked about the slap that the girl used the N-word to piss you off. I talked about the slap because I felt betrayed, and cheated on it. I smacked someone. So, and it's not just about a smack, it's about decisions that we make in our lives that we wish we can go back and do things a lot differently. So I do think that everything starts with an authentic apology and asking for forgiveness in order for the healing to start, so that you can move on.
Asking for forgiveness.
Yeah, that's huge.
That's really good. Yeah. Asking for forgiveness. And then like, what about the consequences, like from, I guess, the academy and like all that?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about that?
So I know that, is it Whoopi Goldberg who's on the board
The
at
View?
the academy?
On the board.
I think so. And she said on The View, he's not going to lose his Oscar. So I don't think that that's going to happen based on my knowledge, but I could be wrong.
I don't think it should happen.
I don't think he's going to lose his Oscar. I think
maybe get like, suspension or something from coming, or
maybe.
Right.
I do think that what's going to happen is the intangible things, like his brand being impacted, and he may lose some deals. He may lose some things because of, it's probably going to happen. Like, he may be dropped from some things. And, it's unfortunate, but I do think that just goes along with it, that, something will transpire as the aftermath of the situation that occurred. Yeah.
Correct.
What do you think?
I don't think he should lose his Oscar, because there's a lot of people who've gotten Oscars who've done horrible things. So I'm not keeping score that way, but I do think maybe to make an example or to protect future people from being slapped, or other people walking on the stage and assaulting people. Because now if you're asked to host the Oscars, you're going to be a little bit worried or iffy that someone can come and just do whatever to you and you don't feel protected.
Was there security? I'm just curious, because like I said, I didn't watch, but I would assume they do have security there. Yeah. Around it. I mean, they have to.
They will next time. I know that. If they didn't, they will next time. I don't know that for sure, but I know that will be something that they're going to have to now implement. I mean, obviously, like when I think about like the insurrection on the Capitol, like there was like 2 security. I mean, I don't know if that's obviously the number, but it was very little to protect the people inside. And so it's like, I'm sure there's more security now. Like, usually after something happens, then you implement to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I don't know.
Yeah. Speaking on like, how do we move forward? Because I think that you asked a very good question, Shea, so we talked about that authentic apology, asking for forgiveness to Chris Rock, but have you seen, because I'm always the last to know, because I'm the worst with social media, but has there been anything posted from Will or Will's camp about how disappointing he was in his actions, how he made a public apology to those who were there, and around him? Like, I don't know. Has that happened? Because I'm sure that probably.
I know he made an apology on his page, a
Hmm.
public apology,
Hmm.
just through via text on his page.
Okay.
That's all
Just
I know.
for
But I
Chris and
wonder
for
if Chris
everyone
Rock
there.
apologized to Jada. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, that's the next thing I
I
was going to
wonder that
say
too.
was that one, I was just curious if Will took that approach. And then two,
Let
do
me
we
see.
know? Yeah, why you check that. And then
Yeah.
I wonder too if Chris had reached out to Jada too, because I think in order for us to move forward, especially when things have happened and hurt has happened on both sides, then forgiveness needs to happen on both sides. And just like Will should ask, Chris for forgiveness and apologize, I think that Chris needs to do the same thing for Jada, for saying some things that was very hurtful for her that she's been struggling with and even posted about it prior to the Oscars. So hopefully he has done the same. So I'm not sure, we have to check on that too, Shea, if Chris ever apologized to Jada. I'm hoping
I
that
don't see
there was
anything.
I'm hoping that there was apology on both sides. Now, look, again, I keep going back to, because I know that comedians make jokes and they sometimes go over the top with things that are said about people. But I do think we need to be mindful of, there has to be something has to be like in a safe space. Like, it has to be like on the no joke list. Like, just as a decent
yes,
human
that's
being.
such a good point. Like, like we do. I mean, maybe we need to like rethink like certain things, certain shows. Like, yes, comedians, if they have their own show, like a Dave Chappelle, that's his actual show. He can do his thing, or Chris Rock can do it on their show. But like on shows like Oscars, which are family shows, which our kids sometimes watch with us, maybe we need to rethink like like you said, like what are the boundaries? Like what's too far, for people at shows like that. I was thinking about that too. Like I was just wondering, like maybe we need to restructure who's hosting and like how it all works.
And then look,
I don't know.
there's so
I'm not all
much.
caught up in that. So
Yeah,
I'm not an
but
expert.
here's the thing that does happen though, Shea. Like, there's so much that goes behind in terms of practice and preparation for something like that. Like, these jokes are scrubbed, and there has to be something that we're doing, just as a society in terms of what is accepted and what's not accepted, about what's appropriate, what's not appropriate to joke about. Because, I do know that some comedians kind of just come off the fly, whatever they're thinking of, and at their time. But there is a script that they follow. I mean, the picture was up there, so clearly they knew that the joke was happening. Like, right? So we need to be mindful.
The betting process of the jokes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not that you can bet that Will would be in a horrible state and go and smack someone, but like, yeah, like maybe you guys need to rethink. You guys, the Oscars, like no one's from the Oscars going to listen to this, but
maybe,
but like, yeah, maybe we rethink that. Yeah. Interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. Have you, because I'm sure you've just seen like across the board, just a mixed bag of folks who felt like, yes, kick his butt. He deserved it. And you have some people like, whoa, that was totally out of line. I've seen it happen all over the place on LinkedIn, because that's where I live the most part, just from a work perspective. And then I've seen it on Twitter. I think, is it Ayala? I always pronounce her name wrong. Is it Ayana?
Ayana?
Yeah.
Ayana?
Yeah. She posted she posted something in defense of Will. And I was reading her comments, and people were pissed saying, did your account get hacked? Like, this is crazy.
Insane. Cause she's also like a crisis management, like,
yes, that's why people were pissed
counselor.
off.
So they're probably like, whoa, this is not what we expected you to say, or the stance we expect you to take.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have a judgment either way. When it comes to like I said, I'm not going to cancel Will. I'm not going to cancel Chris. I think it was wrong. It needs to be called out. Yeah. I don't condone violence. I don't think what he did was tasteful, right, correct. And so if it was my child, you get a whooping, you get grounded, and you get right back out there. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to, I don't think it's, you know what I'm saying? Like, if he asks for forgiveness, like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't go around assaulting people all the time, and he's not imperfect. I mean, he's not perfect. So yeah, like, I mean, I don't know. I'm going to look at it. I'm going to hear everybody's point of view, and
Yeah.
I'm also not going to reprimand people for giving their point of view, whether they are for the slap or not for the slap, or they're for the joke or not
people
for
are
the
entitled to
joke.
their opinions. That's
and that's what I'm going to leave it as. Like,
yeah. So
okay.
I found Ayala's her tweet. It says, "Beloved Will Smith has set a whole new standard for what it means to protect and honor your wife. Be mindful, and in the midst of it, beloved Mr. Will Packer did an amazingly phenomenal job producing this year's Oscars. Yes to the Wills." So that was her tweet, and her comments were blazing.
But I kind of think she's trying to say, like, think twice before you make jokes about people's wives, or think twice before you make jokes about people, because the consequences can be like that. So
be very mindful about what you say.
That was a layer of protection that wasn't ever there before.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was wrong, but the next time you make a joke about Jada, you're going to think twice, because you might get smacked.
You might.
So that's kind of how I think that's how I took it. You know what I mean? Like, tread lightly.
I mean, I'm a clown and I joke a lot. But I do try to be mindful of the things that I'm saying. Like, look, I'm not saying I'm a comedian. I'm certainly not getting paid for my little raggedy jokes, but
maybe
in the future. But I'm certainly not getting paid now, but and never, because I can never do I'm not that funny. But I still would never joke about someone's like that. Like, that to me is just
it's below the belt.
Yeah, you know what? Because I had a group that was going off too, like with my friends. And it was crazy. Buzzing, like it was getting so late. I was like, "But these chicks go to bed. It's like 1 o'clock. Like, I'm tired. I gotta get up in the morning, work out, go to work. Like, stop this nonsense."
Right.
And one of my friends said that, joking about someone who has alopecia, it hit her, because it said it's like joking someone who had a mastectomy. Like, there's certain things you just don't play with. And that's how she interpreted that joke.
Correct.
And we all interpret it very much differently. But I think, not to just drag this situation out, but I think that we all know that, one, we have to be mindful of the words that come out of our mouth and be very thoughtful about what we're saying in terms of how it can impact someone else's world.
Right.
And depending on how deep of a wound you cut, you very much could suffer consequences. Let's just say that, for your actions.
Yeah. This is a deep one.
It is a deep one that will be everlasting, that will last that's why it was so important for us to talk about it, because this is not going anywhere.
Yeah. I mean, I literally was like, I had my mouth open for, like, and I kept watching it, but not watching the whole thing. It was like, I would get to the walk up and I'd be like, or I had to like slow play it without it being fast, because I was just like,
watching it. Like, I probably watched it like 25 times. Like,
it was so traumatic. It was so traumatic. It was so traumatic. And it was almost like two brothers, two family members. Like, it's kind of stomach churning when you do see family members, like, going at each other.
Yeah.
Like, people who are supposed to love each other, and to, like, Will Smith is a comedian as well. And, like, he jokes around, he's jokey. So it's just like, oh man, like, not you two. You know what I mean? Like, you almost wish it was like a person that they didn't like each other. Like, and maybe they didn't like each other. I don't know. We're not celebrities. So I thought there was a backstory there too. Like, maybe that was getting him back for all the other times he said something.
Maybe. Sometimes too, that what you don't know is that, one, we all know that words hurt. And if you don't know, you should know that your words hurt. And then two, some of us, and I have been guilty of this in the past, is we harbor things in our hearts when people do or say things about us or about our loved ones that we don't let go. And we become ticking time bombs, because it's like a collection of whatever that emotion is, that it's just like the buildup, like it's building until you just flat out explode. So there's so many different things that we are dealing with. And sometimes you don't say something and do something in the moment, and then you just allow it to build up, and then you just, so I always recommend too that when someone offends you, call them out on it. Don't don't sweep it under the carpet. Don't say I'll deal with it later. Just like I give you feedback in terms of when you're dealing with things in the workplace in real time, you have to deal with things that hurt, that if that's offensive to you in real time as well, and check someone like, no, don't do that. So the funny thing is I was on the phone with my friend, and sometimes
Why do you keep smiling every time you say my friend? My friend?
You're wrong for that. I will not fight you today on that one. Whatever you say, I don't care, Shea. Okay. I'm rising above. Okay. But
don't slap me. No, too soon.
No, that was too too soon. But I was on the phone with him, and we were talking about a serious little topic. And I am so annoying at times when I'm offended by something, or I'm really passionate about something and I want to get my point across. I'm notorious at just repeating it 1,000 times. And I can try to want to paint a story. Like I want you to feel what I feel. So sometimes I kind of go a little bit, I try to give you a little poke.
You dig?
Right. So
you dig?
Okay. Yeah, he was like, because we laugh and joke all the time, but I need someone who could check me. He was like, no, don't do that. And explain why. I was like, okay.
I need someone to check me too.
I need to be checked.
Respectfully.
But that's important. Like,
yeah.
And that made me have mad respect for him, because I was like, oh, he's going to do well with mama.
Yeah, you won't let me walk all over you.
Not at all.
I need that little check-in too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Like, when it's serious, like, yo, Tyneeha.
Like, don't talk to me like that. Like, oh, you right.
Like, yo, simmer down, little lady.
You get too hype. You get too comfortable.
Pardon me. It's like, but that's important though. Like when someone says something, or someone's getting out of line, or it doesn't even have to be like an insult, because I wasn't insulting him, but I was just like, I was saying something that was just like, I needed to chill out. Like I need to be checked. I need to be checked for it. That we cannot, we should not just allow stuff to just stay as like dust in the air. Like when someone does something to you, or even if it's something small, but it doesn't sit right with you, check them out. And it doesn't have to be in a very crazy.
I checked a couple people this week.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Me too.
Yeah. And it felt good, because I was like, let me stop you right there. Let me tell you how it really is, and what you're not going to do, and what I'm not going to accept.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And here's why. Like,
here's why.
Yep. That's important too.
That's important. Speak on that. Preach.
Right. Because I've done it, because people have the tendency, especially for me being a Black executive, a Black senior executive, is that people think that they could say things to me that they would not say to someone else. And I let them know right away, like, let me tell you something, like, don't ever do that. Like, don't disrespect me, and here's why. And don't ever let it happen again. So don't be afraid to check someone immediately when they need to be redirected. That's important.
Yeah. With your words. We are reiterating with your words.
With your calm words. You can be very articulate. And I think, you know what?
And direct.
Here's the thing. When you don't fall into that emotion, and you keep yourself, and you're very calm, you're very stoic, and you're very, people will take you more seriously than the rah, rah, rah. Like, let me tell you something. Like, because people fall into the drama, like, especially when you think about like bullies, like they feed off of that energy. When you listen, that's how you know when someone is not playing. When they come to you and they're very serious, they're very calm, just like I'm talking right now. And they say, listen, don't ever do that. Let me tell you why. They're going to be inclined to like, oh, okay, this person is serious. I'm going to leave them alone. Sometimes it's just a look. You ever give someone a look and they say something to you, you look at them, they're like, I'm sorry. They immediately say, I'm sorry. I
got that Lori Dawson look. And sometimes I come in the room and I don't even say nothing. I just be like,
For those of you who are not on, if you are listening, please go to the YouTube channel so you can see Shea's face. But that's exactly how you got to give someone a look like.
And your shoulders sit up like.
Okay. Or sometimes I cock my head to the side. Like, I don't know why.
Me too.
I go to the side like.
Facts. Like, don't let me come in the room with my head to the side, because that's definitely not a good sign. You get a little,
it's
not a good sign.
It's going to pop it when the head is.
And now that we got a podcast, y'all, people better come correct.
Be careful.
Because you will get roasted on this.
We will come for you.
You will get roasted. Okay. You will get aired out on here. So.
Yeah, my brother was saying, he was like, yeah. I don't think if I was some dude, like I would not want to date some girl on a podcast.
Who better come correct.
Things are great. She say great things about you. Things ain't great. I'm like, well, we'll see how I feel,
Yeah. I mean, come correct, or, you're going to get aired out. So
well, you may be. Oh, last but not least, we have to do this. So what's some of the funniest, have you seen any of the funniest, the memes around all this? I have to find you one. The
funniest one is one that I created but did not post, because I was like, you cannot feed into this, LaShayla, because I'm a goofy person.
The two of us. We're
So it was the audio was from a case, a terrible case, excuse me. So God forgive me. Mm-hmm. But the audio is played on TikTok and on Reels. But it's, if y'all think I'm about to play around with y'all, God damn it, I'm not. And it was playing as Will walked up, and then it was bad. But
okay, wait. What
was one that you? Let me look. I know there was some. I know because my Instagram was blowing up.
What
was the one that you saw?
It's like one of the jingle from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. It says, "I got one little fight. My mom got scared. She said, 'You can't slap Chris Rock because your wife has no hair.'" Like, that's just terrible. But
wow,
that was one of the memes that was out. So this is what I'm saying. Like, these things will last a lifetime out there. So you have to think about that too when you think about some of the things that you do, because what if it happens at a national stage and
I think the best
you're never going to let it go.
Let me see if you can hear this. This was a comedian doing an impression of what Denzel said to Will.
Wait, hold on now. I mean, Will, you got to keep the fire on the inside now. You can't be out here slapping people at the Oscars. We didn't work hard to get here now. But I understand. I mean, I knew you had it in you, but I didn't think you were going to get up there and slap the taste out of his mouth.
So like, it was a comedian. It wasn't even Denzel, but it was like, wow.
Some stuff is uncomfortable. Some stuff is flat out funny.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, laughter kind of sometimes heals the soul. So
yeah, it's
okay that, because we're never laughing at a situation. We're not laughing at Will Smith. We're not laughing at Chris Rock. We're not laughing at, we're laughing at a situation that is just crazy. That's like, when you think about it, all of it, but not in someone else's pain. I think that's what I'm trying to get across. Like, we're not laughing at Jada's pain from being hurt with alopecia and people being made fun of. We're not laughing at Will Smith embarrassment and this all the hurt that he's dealing with. We're not laughing at Chris Rock being assaulted. But when you think about all of it later, when you think about it individually, that's when you like, oh wow, this is real. But I think we laugh at just stupid jokes that go out there, and hopefully we'll get to a place where we can move past all that has happened.
Yeah,
that hearts will be healed, that people will look at this and just laugh at just a moment when Will Smith just was like, lost his mind and got back on track.
Yeah. And my hope is that I feel like all of them are in television, and one day they will make some great content kind of talking about that moment, and each person sharing their perspective about how it felt, and we can all view it together, so we can all heal together, because it happened to all of us, even though it happened directly to those three.
Yeah.
But a lot of us, we feel the backlash, we feel the just aftershocks of that. And I know that it helps me to sometimes look at some of the memes and just like, man, like
crazy,
crazy. Yeah. So
Yeah. Well, listen, we appreciate you listening to us. We know that everyone has their own opinion on what happened, and whatever your opinion is, know that, especially being a tipper, like we appreciate who you are and your own personal perspective. So feel free to share, right, wrong, or indifferent. Your opinion is your opinion. And we encourage you to always be your most authentic selves in everything that you do. So thanks for listening. We appreciate you. Please continue to listen to Tip in the Scales wherever you get your podcast, and keep coming back. We love you for it.
Beautifully said, T. Keep coming back.
Thank you.
Later.
See ya.